Welcome to Bad Actors. We're filming at Black Hat 2025, and my guest for this episode is Ben April, the CTO of Maltego. Thank you for joining me at Bad Actors.
Thanks for having me.
So for those that aren't aware of Maltego, what you do, give us a quick overview of the company and the solutions that you provide.
So, company's based out of Munich, Germany. We make tools to empower investigators to solve crime and solve their problems. So we've got a number of tools, link analysis, real-time analytics, collections and capturing evidence, all kinds of things that just make the investigator's job easier at getting to the truth of the matter and solving the case.
Now, this is one of the hottest areas in cybersecurity at the moment. Threat intelligence, finding out who's behind the threats, the critical environments that are being targeted day to day. There's a lot to unpack.
Yep.
So tell me a bit about how Maltego was formed. What was the initial concept of the platform, and what were you trying to achieve?
So it was really created initially as an investigator tool by an investigator. It's like, I need the tool, I'm going to build it, right? A crew in South Africa made this tool.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it just took off like wildfire, right? Everybody in the community loves it. To this day, they talk about, 10, 15 years ago when they first used it. It's like,
Right.
oh, I remember Maltego. It's like, it's great, what's new? Great conversations here on the floor at Black Hat. So after that, people started maturing. They were no longer hacker culture anymore. They actually got day jobs. They had to do work. They had to work with compliance teams. People started having a hard time saying, we don't really want to cut a check to South Africa. What can you do for us? So eventually Maltego Technologies in Germany was founded, which was a reseller for a while. And then not long after that, it became, the IP holder and the primary maintainer of the product. A couple of years ago, we were picked up by Charles Bank Capital Partners out of Boston. So we're, the best of both worlds, made in America, or American owned, made in Germany,
Right.
German engineering, kind of all the best pieces. And we also get to think about things from a European privacy perspective. So it's like, that's a really important piece of what we do.
And I do want to talk to you about that, because you've brought up a good point about compliance and regulation, and obviously the challenges across the DO states. But one of the things I do want to talk to you about first is really that necessity for threat, risk, and intelligence, and the tools that people have nowadays. We see a lot in the headlines about the exposed threats that organizations are faced with. You are a cross-industry platform. You're looking at manufacturing, financial services, I presume, anybody that needs to understand the threat levels that they're faced with and do some investigation. So do you see challenges across different verticals are unique, or do you think that some of the things that you're able to do with the platform really can apply to any industry?
By and large, the investigative process is pretty universal.
Okay.
Right? You've got your clue, you pivot, you find more clues, you understand the context of how those clues fit together, build out the graph, build out a map. In that sense, it's all really kind of consistent across the board. However, the data different organizations and different teams need varies drastically.
Yes.
Right? So a financial services team is going to need very different information than a network defense team, for example. A team doing executive protection is going to need very different data than the team doing background checks in HR. So our tools can support all of those use cases. But you need different data to make those work.
Now, it's very early in our conversation, but I do want to talk about AI for a little bit, because that has changed the game.
Yep.
It's not a new concept. AI has been around for a very, very long time, but it is definitely the word du jour of 2024, 2025, and probably 2026 and beyond. And we're at Black Hat. Every single person is talking about AI, the pitfalls plus the benefits.
Yep.
What's your personal feelings about AI, and how have you been able to leverage that within Maltego?
So my feelings are very much a mixed bag. I come from an era where I fondly remember war games growing up. Actually not long after starting at Maltego, I had a movie night in the Munich office one day, and everybody came in and we watched war games. And afterwards, a few of them were like, is that why you're not a super fan of ChatGPT? Like, it may have something to do with it.
That might be it.
But at the same time, it's a super powerful capability,
Of
right?
course.
I mean, it's offering tools and services that just couldn't have existed before, but at what cost? And there's some interesting balances. So we're doing some really cool things, but we're starting very carefully and framing them in terms of how can we help the investigator. I personally don't want to see a world where the AI is performing the investigation.
Yes.
I think that's a failure state.
Right.
We've lost the plot if the AI is making the determination. However, there's a lot we can do to make it easier for the investigator.
Yes.
By applying AI tools. So we're prototyping now. Actually, it's beyond a prototype. We've got proof of concepts working where it's an investigative assistant. It's a chat, standard chat style conversation. Built-in requirements, like if you want to, if it needs the graph, it'll ask you if you want to share the graph, and you decide what data it gets. But then it can kind of help make some analysis and provide some guidance. But it can't solve the case for you. And
right.
We're never going to release a tool that's going to solve the case for you.
Yes.
But I do want to make every investigator more powerful and more effective.
And data is at the heart of obviously a lot of that, and that's
Absolutely.
what you provide to many of your customers. I want to talk to you about the differentiation between the sort of the mode of attack and the people behind it.
Okay.
So what makes, I suppose, the interesting thing that I'm interested in learning a bit more about is how you investigate those sort of two levels. So we hear a lot in the news about groups like Scattered Spider, who are very prevalent at the moment, with the typhoon issues last year. There is a lot of different attack paths that people are organizing, but also the groups behind them and the reason for what they do. Talk to me firstly about the people behind the threat, because we know a lot of it is money-based. Some of them have views or political views on things and then obviously some of them are nation state sponsored. Have you seen the levels of different directions change over the last couple of years? Are you seeing more from one group versus another?
So day to day, I would say I don't follow like specific threat actor groups.
Okay.
So that's not the world I get to live in. I'm really building the tools that help the analysts figure those things out. I will say I've definitely seen a trend towards what I'll call professionalization of the industry.
Right.
Every sector. I remember, Black Hat a few years ago being very excited talking about how some of these scam operations and ransomware had IT teams, and they had HR teams.
Right.
And they were just doing IT.
Yeah.
They were handing out laptops and setting up accounts, and here's your email and reset your password. And HR was hiring and firing people. They weren't doing it. Neither of those teams were doing criminal activity, right?
Yeah.
They've got an accounting team.
Yes.
They're accounting for criminal money, but it's an accounting team, following GAAP, right?
Yeah.
And you look at this, it's like, all right, this is a business.
Yes.
This is an organized business. This is not the script kiddies of yesterday, plinking around. Now, I mean, when you get into Scattered Spider, you start getting, there are obviously variations, but by and large, it really feels like it's getting more organized.
Commercial.
Yeah, more commercial.
Yeah. And I suppose as the cybersecurity industry evolves, the tools available to the analysts and the investigators need to adapt accordingly. Do you think we've got a good balance of education, sort of flashpoints of awareness, and sort of broad adoption of where the industry is going to go? Or do you think there's still a lot of gaps that we need to fill?
I think the education and awareness is tricky in that you cannot walk around this room for 5 minutes without being overstimulated.
Yes.
Right? There's just, I mean, I've got, my field of vision right now, I've got hundreds of blinking LEDs out there.
Yes.
And it's like, you can't, a single human being cannot ingest the full set of information that we need to deal with.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, it's back to the AI. It's like, we need to look at other ways to deal with this. But it's the education is a challenge. How do you get people far enough up to speed? We know we've got skills gaps. We know we're trying to get more people into the space. How do we get them trained up in a world where everyone would like to type, do this investigation for me into a window and get an answer? It's like, no, we need people to actually learn the skills.
Yeah.
Do the hard stuff, solve the puzzles, and be passionate about it. And that's kind of the challenge I see, is like getting to that point and getting more people into the into the world doing that.
Yeah, and it's that next generation appeal, I guess. I think people see cybersecurity as this sort of cool and interesting environment, but to your point, there's a lot of people that have been in the environment for sort of 20, 30 plus years, and it has changed incrementally over that period of time. I mean, if I look back at even the last 10 years, it's unrecognizable to where we are today. So how do we move forward as an industry? I'd be interested in your thoughts as through your own career of the things that you've had to pivot from and the points in time where you've had to adapt your own knowledge, your own learning, your own experience to combat the attack landscape that we are having to deal with today.
So I'll date myself here. I guess I already did with the War Games reference, but when I started in this space, you could not go to school for this.
No,
it wasn't
exactly.
a thing. No. I tried to go to school for network engineering, but I couldn't find anything. So I actually went into the internet space.
Okay.
I could have gone to school to learn how to design a router,
right?
Do the EE path and go that way, but no one was really had a good network engineering program. So I just went out in the ISP world, worked my way upstream, ended up at a global backbone provider, and in the era where the network team was the security team.
Right.
So you had to understand the network in order to get into the network team. And then by nature of understanding the network, you could describe the threats and understand how the threats operated and things like that. We're in a whole new world now.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we've got boot camps, we've got, wonderful programs where people can go learn this stuff. But we also get graduates who have never had an second.
Right.
They have never had that moment where your stomach drops out and you go, "Oh crap! This is not going to be a good day."
Yeah.
How do I deal with this? And it's like that's how we learned was, oh, the network's broken.
Yes.
I wonder if it's a networking issue or a security issue. It doesn't matter. We've got to fix it. So you dive in and figure it out. And now it's become more process oriented and structured, which is good from a repeatability perspective, but it's also, I'd almost say, a little soul sucking in terms of it's not the hero element isn't there anymore. Right? I mean, there was a time when the security guys would come running in when something broke and there was actual energy in the room. And now it's, all right, everybody open to page 7 of our disaster recovery plan, and let's make sure we have the right people on the call.
Right.
I mean, and that's important. You have to do that stuff. But we give this movie impression of what cybersecurity is like.
I could not agree more.
And then it's really, really boring sometimes.
And I think also, I mean, it's great that it has become a mainstream talking point for the average non-cybersecurity aware person on the street.
Yeah.
But it's always negative. It's the CrowdStrike outage of a year ago. It's as of this morning, Chanel's just been attacked. So personally, I'm very upset about that. It's things like that the headlines of cybersecurity is bad, everything to do with cybersecurity is bad. It has an impact on society. And yes, it does. There is a negative element, of course, but there's also securing medical environments, securing critical infrastructure from bad actors, keeping society safe and sound every single day. It's very easy for us to paint this movie picture. I love that description of what it is like working in this industry. And I am very interested in the new generation coming in and trying to encourage people into this world, because it's not for the faint-hearted. It's foot to the floor at every given time. But it is very, very important work that we do. And as we evolve into the world of AI and into the future, it is going to be one of the most critical states we can get into. I wonder what you look towards in the future, like the things that keep you up at night now, but also the things that give you pause and hope for the next year.
So I think my instinctual answer probably comes back to that AI conversation.
Right.
I mean, there are some really exciting things coming out of that, and there are some generally terrifying things coming out of that. And we have to, that bottle is open. Right. We're not getting it back in the bottle. Not saying we should.
No.
But we now live in a world where I can sit down at a prompt and create 100 phishing emails with what I know about you in the past half hour we've been sitting here.
Right.
And 7 of them are going to be more than credible enough to get you to click on something.
Great.
Right? And I mean, and to be fair, like,
Very worrying.
I have clicked on phishing emails. You know, show me the person in this room who has not clicked on a phishing email, and I will show you a liar.
Yes.
It's not a thing. But like, it's pervasive. It affects everybody. You know, I'm starting to see like cybersecurity education in schools. I think we need to do more of that. I think you're right. I think, you know, the doom and gloom is kind of an unfortunate side effect of our news cycle.
Yep.
It's one of the only ways to kind of get that information out there. And if people aren't going to listen, if we tell them the boring part, at least they're listening a little bit when we tell them, hey, your data's been stolen again. And of course, we reach a point where, all right, my data's been stolen 37 times. What's the point? Why am I worried about it anymore?
Right.
And there's something to that, right? I mean, your data's gone. Your data's out there. You can't create new fingerprints.
No.
Can't change your birthday. You know, there's only so many things you can do about that. So it's like, what I'd love to see kind of more in the world about solving the problem,
right,
as opposed to making money prolonging the problem.
The problem, yeah.
And that's kind of my tension. Is I really want to see people who are taking bold steps to actually solve and make this global issue less of a problem. And I see a lot of those people here. It happens. It absolutely happens. But we need to be celebrating those people.
Yes.
More than oh no, Chanel got popped again.
Yes.
Because it's like, I don't know if you're familiar with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy,
yes,
but no, here we go again.
Here
it's
we
like
go again. Yes,
is a tagline.
No, you're very right. Let's bring it back to Maltego.
Okay.
So we're at the mid-year point of the year. It's Black Hat yet again. A lot of the industry are here. What are you excited about for the remainder of your financial year and like the focus for the platform and your technology?
So we've just recently brought in a number of acquisitions. So we're continuing to integrate those more tightly in the investigative platform. That's just super exciting. We just picked up Hunchly, which is just a super powerful tool for collecting evidence as you're browsing.
Okay.
Basically, think of it as a black box for your web browser.
Wow. Okay.
So you go down all these rabbit holes. You can actually go back and figure out where you went. It's like, I remember that page, and like it can capture that for you. So you can put that in the report and use it. So integrating all the tools we have now into kind of one cohesive workflow, all one platform where all the tools you need are right there. That's really the big work we're doing right now. Really exciting work going on with getting the Maltego client, which started as a Java application, finally into the browser, finally available as that tool. That'll be later this year. Just really jazzed about where everything's going.
Busy 6 months ahead.
Yeah, the team's cranking.
And then Black Hats, you were on day one. What are you excited about for the show?
I am always excited about rekindling old connections and making new connections. I've long said that the main reason to be here is the hallway.
Yeah.
From my networking days, one of the things we learned very early on was you never solve a problem by calling the front desk of a megacorp.
No, of course, yeah.
You will only solve the problem if you know somebody who knows somebody who can get you to the person you need to talk to.
Very true.
So knowing people here, walking down the aisles and go, hey, and just having those conversations, kind of reconnecting. It's the most important part of why I'm here. But also, talking to new potential data sources, talking to new potential partners, all of that. It's great. Next couple days at the more hacker events, I get to, put on my snarky t-shirts and have fun and actually remember what got me into this space in the first place.
It is definitely that exciting sort of event feel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ben April, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It's great.